As the Zodiac Killer.
Notorious Zodiac Killer.
Of the Zodiac Killer.
He announced himself with a cryptic letter, handwritten, haunting, and marked by bizarre symbols. Its message wasn't just chilling, it was a promise. He had killed, and he would kill again. And just like that, California's peace was shattered. Soon the headlines turned bloody. Across Northern California, bodies appeared, victims of a faceless figure, cloaked in black. A gun in one hand, a knife in the other, and always a symbol left behind. He called himself Zodiac. This wasn't just a murderer, this was a ghost in the night, a puppet master of fear. He mocked the police with letters, dared the public to decode his twisted riddles, each killing more brazen, each message more taunting. He vanished. No arrests, no closure, just fear that lingered. Decades later, one question still chills the spine of a nation. Who was the Zodiac Killer? Welcome to Secrets of the Past. His story begins with a pair of teenagers on a cold December night in 1968, parked along Lake Herman Road just outside Vallejo, California. David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen never made it home. Their car doors were still closed when police found them, but the scene was far from peaceful. 10 shots had been fired. Betty Lou lay dead several feet from the car, shot 5 times in the back as she tried to run. David was shot in the head at close range, likely first. No signs of theft, no struggle, no known enemies. Just 2 dead teenagers and a mystery that would only. 7 months later, another attack. This time it was the evening of July 4th, 1969, not far from the first location. Darlene Ferrin and Michael McGaw sat in a parked car at Blue Rock Springs Park. A car pulled up beside them, then drove away. Moments later, it returned. The driver exited, flashlight in hand, and approached the passenger's side and opened fire with a 9mm handgun. Darlene was hit multiple times and would later die. Michael miraculously survived despite being shot in the face, neck, and the chest. He caught glimpses of the shooter, a heavy-set man about 5 foot 8 inch tall, light curly hair, but he couldn't make a positive ID. 40 minutes later, a call came into the Vallejo Police Department. A calm male voice confessed to both this and the previous December's murders. The call was traced to a phone booth blocks from the police station. The line had been wiped clean of fingerprints. Then came the letters. On August the 1st, 1969, 3 newspapers, the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Examiner, each received nearly identical letters. The sender claimed to be the murderer and included details only the killer could know. Each letter came up with 1/3 of a 408-character cipher. Together, the 3 ciphers formed a cryptogram, a puzzle that the killer claimed would reveal his identity. The letters were signed with a strange symbol, a circle with a cross through it, and for the first time the killer gave himself a name. This is the Zodiac speaking. The phrase would come to haunt investigators and terrify the public. The cipher was cracked less than a week later by high school teacher Donald Harden and his wife Betty. It read more like a manifesto than a confession, expressing the killer's delight in murder and his belief that his victims would serve him as slaves in the afterlife. But there was no name. The identity remained concealed. By September, the Zodiac struck again. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were picnicking at Lake Berryessa. A man approached them wearing a black hood, sunglasses, and a white symbol stitched to his chest, the now familiar crosshair. He claimed to be an escaped convict and said he only needed their car and money. He then pulled out pre-cut lengths of plastic clothesline and tied them up. Calmly, he drew a knife and began stabbing them repeatedly. Cecilia was stabbed 10 times. Brian, 6. Afterward, the killer walked to their car and wrote a message on the door. The dates of the previous attacks, the current date, the time, and his symbol. He even wrote the brand of the knife he used. Cecilia died 2 days later. Brian survived. 15 days passed. Then on October 11, 1969, Paul Stein, a cab driver, picked up a fare in San Francisco's Presidio Heights. The passenger asked to be taken to Washington and Maple Streets, but at the intersection of Washington and Cherry, he shot Paul once in the head. He removed a piece of Stein's shirt and left the cab calmly. Several witnesses saw him, including schoolchildren. Police arrived within minutes but were mistakenly told to look for a black male suspect. The killer vanished into the night. 3 days later, the Chronicle received another letter, this one including a piece of Paul Stein's bloody shirt as proof. The Zodiac claimed he would now start attacking school children, even describing how he would shoot out a school bus's front tire and pick off the kids as they exited. Panic surged through the Bay Area. Police scrambled, suspect sketches were drawn, roadblocks were set, still no one was caught. Letters kept coming, some included ciphers, other taunts. One came with a Halloween card, another referenced Mount Diablo and included a cryptic map. A cipher included the number 340 and remained unsolved for decades. Despite the mounting terror, the Zodiac seemed to disappear after 1969. Then suddenly he returned. In March 1970, Kathleen Jones and her infant daughter were driving near Modesto when a man flagged her down. He claimed her tire was loose and offered to help. Moments later, her car was disabled. He offered a ride. She accepted. But instead of taking her to safety, he drove in circles for nearly 2 hours, making veiled threats about harming her and her child. She escaped with her daughter into a field and later identified her abductor as the man in the Zodiac sketch. In 1970 and 1971, the Zodiac sent more letters, including a bomb diagram and threats against police officers. But the tone grew erratic. The handwriting varied. Some believed they were hoaxes, others authentic. Still, the core mystery remained. Who was he? Why had he stopped? Multiple suspects emerged. Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted child molester, was the prime focus of many investigators. He owned a Zodiac brand wristwatch bearing the same symbol used in the letters. He lived near the first crime scenes. A former friend claimed Allen once said he wanted to kill people, call himself the Zodiac, and taunt police with letters. But handwriting samples and DNA evidence didn't match. Richard Gaikowski, a journalist, was another candidate. His mannerisms, appearance, and connections to San Francisco's counterculture matched elements of the profile. Ross Sullivan, a library assistant who resembled the Zodiac sketch and had a history of mental illness, was also named. So were Lawrence Kane and Earl Van Best Jr. Each had circumstantial links. None had proof. In 2021, a team of independent investigators called the Case Breakers claimed the Zodiac was Gary Francis Post, a house painter and Air Force veteran with facial scars similar to the police sketch. But law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, have not confirmed this identification. Post's DNA remains inconclusive. The debate continues. In December 2020, 51 years after the 340 character cipher was sent, a team of amateur cryptologists solved it. The decrypted message did not reveal the Zodiac's identity. Instead, it taunted I hope you're having lots of fun in trying to catch me. The letter had been a game all along, a puzzle with no prize. The Zodiac claimed to have killed 37 people. Officially, only 5 murders and 2 attempted murders are definitely linked to him. Many unsolved cases have been speculatively attributed to the Zodiac, but no clever pattern emerges beyond those core crimes. The Zodiac's influence echoes far beyond California. He inspired films like David Fincher's Zodiac, books, comics, and thousands of online forums. Amateur sleuths dedicate years decoding ciphers and dissecting timelines. Cryptography experts use his letter as case studies. In a time before digital surveillance, he evaded one of the most intense manhunts in US history. What made the Zodiac unique was not just the brutality of his crimes, but the psychological warfare he waged. He manipulated the media, dictated headlines, and forced police to play by his rules. He turned murder into a macabre performance. Yet the question persists: was he a criminal genius, or simply lucky? Did he die shortly after his last confirmed letter, or did he live on, watching his legacy grow? Was he a lone operator or part of something larger? Even now, the case file remains open. DNA advances offer hope. Familial tracing, like in the Golden State Killer case, could crack the mystery, but time is not on our side. Witnesses age, memories fade, and evidence decays. Still, there's something about the Zodiac that keeps pulling us back. The codes, the letters, the feeling that just one clue could bring everything into focus. He wanted attention, he got it, but what he didn't get, not yet, was the last word. Perhaps that's what keeps us searching. Perhaps the cipher he feared most was the truth, and it's one puzzle he never thought he'd solve.